Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and Maker of heaven and earth, the one who sees all and is not seen, the one who judges all and is not judged, is whom we're speaking of. We're talking about the Most High, the one who has no beginning and no end, the one who has no parents, brothers and sisters. This is whom we're speaking of in this particular matter. We hope and pray that everybody is well and will be better. We are going to, brothers and sisters, go over in part the matter of Hanukkah. And brothers and sisters, we know that this was intended to go live last night, but that didn't happen for purposes beyond some control. Nonetheless, brothers and sisters, we do hope and pray that, again, everybody is well and will be better. We ask you all to comment, like, share, and subscribe. We ask you all, brothers and sisters, to give your take upon the presentation. We ask you all to let us know what you think about it. Brothers and sisters, I do not know everything, and I am open to constructive criticism. Brothers and sisters, we are going to, getting into this particular matter, show the number 908-587-4841. I can be reached at that through text, through WhatsApp, and as well, brothers and sisters, the website, Danitepublications.com. We generally don't ask for donations, but for those who care to do so, you can do so by going to $ Frank Son, the number 1, and that's that. $FRANKSSON, the number 1, as shown upon the screen there. We hope and pray, brothers and sisters, that everybody is well and will be better. We want to say Hanukkah Samecha, happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah Shalom, peaceful Hanukkah to all our brothers and sisters. This is on the channel More Than Yeshiah History Lessons, More Than Yeshiah Torah Lessons, and the Facebook page Yeshiah Author Danite. I want to say, not congratulating the deceased, but I want to say giving honor and praise to my mother on a human level, who brought me into this understanding upon this timing when I was a baby back in the year 1982, 41 years ago. The first time I was brought to a congregation, I was 2 years old. And it was not for the Shabbat, no knock on the Shabbat whatsoever. It was not for Passover, but rather, brothers and sisters, it was rather for the timing of the Hanukkah or Hanukkah. We're going to go over, brothers and sisters, 23 slides. We know and intend this presentation to not be long, brothers and sisters. A school night for some, a work night for some, and we already know that's after 9:30 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time. So, without any further ado, brothers and sisters, let us pull up the PowerPoint and get into this particular matter. Again, we intended to do this last night, but due to mediating circumstances, it did not happen. So we're going to be doing it now. Blessed be the Most High, the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth. Let us, brothers and sisters, go into this particular matter and into this particular presentation. Thank you all for that. All right. We are going to get into this. All right. And Shalom, rising greatness, my brother. How you doing? Coming from another mother, if you will. And I don't mean the Most High bless this brother. Rising greatness. This brother is a sign that I see here inside the chat that went through something and the Most High delivered him. Not to get too personal, but the glory goes to the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth. Pray for your brothers and sisters. And the Most High delivered. All right? Not to get too personal. Pray for your brothers and sisters, because we all are going through something, one way, shape, form, fashion, or another. All right? So, More Than Yeshiah Torah Lessons I'm on. And we're going to get into this particular thing, as well as More Than Yeshiah History Lessons. Whatever your channel or platform you hear this on, we ask you all to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Giving honor to the Creator of heaven and earth. We say Hanukkah Shalom, and Hanukkah Samecha. We hope and pray that you all are well and will be better. On a human level, I want to give due respect to my lady. That is to say, my lady Sarai of the tribe of Judah, who motivates and encourages me into this kind of presentations and so forth. All right. Now, not to get too personal, last Hanukkah I was working, so we didn't spend that time together. This Hanukkah, we want to sit there and rededicate and let it be what it is. There's nothing wrong with working. Hanukkah is not one of the days in Leviticus 23 and so forth and so on. But nonetheless, if you're able to sit there and make that time, if you're able to sit there and spend that time with your loved ones, then do so. The brothers that come out of one of my elders said something that dawned on me. Because sometimes we deal with immediate family and the holidays that some of our relatives observe, like this past what they call Thanksgiving and other matters and so forth. While not saying don't spend time with your family, I'm not going to say that. But brothers and sisters, in no disrespect, did they fast with you on Yom Kippur? Because no disrespect to immediate family, if I were to go to some of my immediate family and say, we are going to have a fast and we're going to confess our sins, some be like, what? I ain't doing that. So if it's all about observing times with families, brothers and sisters, then let your immediate family observe the times such as this. Observe the times that even Leviticus talks about, mainly, if nothing else. Israelites have man-made days, such as Hanukkah, such as Purim, brothers and sisters. You understand? Now, Hanukkah is not a gift-giving time by decree. We want to point that out. There, again, is nothing wrong with giving a gift at any given time. But nonetheless, if anything, the gift-giving time in Israel comes in what they call, in modern times, the month of February. Correct me if I'm wrong, where Purim comes in. You understand? That's dating from the time of Esther and so forth and so on. So, brothers and sisters, in giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth, let us continue in this particular matter. Thank you for that. Asking you all to comment, like, share, subscribe. Now, this might seem a little odd, but I just want to go there with permission already. The lady you see there on the left-hand side, that's my lady Sarai. May the Most High continue to bless and strengthen her. My lady, and on the right side, you see my mother, my sister, my cat. Now, my mother brought me into this, like I said, when I was 2 years old. At this point, she was not in this understanding of the Most High God. So that's why when you look at the picture on the right-hand side, you might see that tree behind, and so forth and so on. We already know in Israel, brothers and sisters, what my mother did not know, say, in 1980, 1979, 1982. Well, by the time Xmas came in 82, she was already in this understanding. So let's say 81, 80, 79, 78 of those years. She was not in this understanding. My imam, may she rest in peace, came in this understanding of Israel when she was 32 years old. The Most High calls people when he wants to. She brought me and my sister to a congregation called Kosher Erit B'nai Yisrael, which is located in the Bronx. And she went there from October 8th or October 9th, a Shabbat in 1982, and until her death in April 2004, she has never broken the Shabbat. Me being her son, I can say every time Shabbat came, it was observed. I never see my imam go to work on the Shabbat. I never see my imam, even when times got hard, saying to me and my sister, it's real right now, you may even have to work on Shabbat. Never. When she came to the understanding of the Most High God, never was it a thing to front to bring your children to other kind of matters. I once got in trouble because as a child, I helped somebody put up the Xmas decorations. And her statement to me was, you were leading people astray. You, my son, if anything, was supposed to teach them about the ways of the Most High. Not say, oh, I'm a guest, so I'm going to sit there and help you put the ball on the tree. I'm going to sit there and tape that up onto the wall. Now, why did I put that picture up there? Was for edification purposes. In the spirit of Hanukkah or rededication, I can never ever remember my mother giving anyone or accepting, say, an Xmas gift. So people change, Israel. So if a person can talk about his or her own mother and the change in that, then why do some Israelites feel that if a person doesn't come to an understanding by the time you or whoever thinks one should come into it, that's not your call? He who scattered Israel will gather Israel, is what Jeremiah said. Jeremiah the prophet, who said they take a tree and cut it out the forest and they dick it with nails and hammers. They dick it with silver and gold and fasten it with nails and hammers that it move not. In Jeremiah 10. Later on in the prophet Jeremiah, it says, he who scattered Israel will gather Israel. So maybe we don't need a chart about the 12 tribes, because the Most High who scattered Israel will be the one to gather. Sometimes we just got to fall back and let, as the saying goes, let go and let God. Let the Most High do what the Most High is going to do. We don't need a 12 tribe chart, brothers and sisters, because you know when you can sit there and see, in many cases when the Most High is not about it, is you begin to see problems come up that shouldn't be. The intention for it was for good, but that same thing that was meant in your heart for good turned to be a degenerate plant. So know when to fall back, brothers and sisters. It is not for us maybe to say this tribe is there, this tribe is there. Maybe we should go to our immediate family, co-workers, and so forth, and say, you know it good and well, a tree belongs outside. Try different ways to sit there and bring it out to the people. You know good and well that your electric bill is high as who knows what, with all of those decorations and the lights and everything that go on. You know that January in many cases is a tough month in the economic department because you spent so much the month before. Those holidays in the nations, and this is no knock on my family, your family, any family, or even my mother who did it in good spirits. But the ways of the nations, like Jeremiah 10 says, is brutish. Israelites who came to this understanding, having already observed some of those kind of days, stated, it's stressful. It's stressful. Passover is not stressful. Shavuot, or the Feast of Weeks, is not stressful. Yom Kippur is not stressful. It may be serious, but it's not stressful. It's not a thing where it's like, oh, this is going to break my pocket. No, not like that. I got to go out because, you know, and do that. No, brothers and sisters. And last thing about that on this note, Santa, Santa, Issatan. Santa is Satan. Study about the history of what they call St. Nicholas. Study in which you talk about in Rome, the Desnatulus Solus Invicti, or what they called in Latin, the birthday of the unconquered sun. Jeremiah 10, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. The Romans used to sit there and pray to the sun in hopes that it will come back. We Israel don't have that custom among us. So again, the point in this right here, brothers and sisters, is to show, may my mother rest in peace, who you see there, and my sister who is in this way of life. She taught us this way of life. She brought us out on Hanukkah and made us keep the Shabbat. And when Shabbat came in, quote, early on the winter months, like it is now in the said December, you was ironing Wednesday and Thursday. You didn't do your homework on Friday afternoon. You did it Sunday before you went outside to play, because Shabbat is coming in. So there was a timing for everything, brothers and sisters. Shabbat has a discipline, brothers and sisters. Be prepared. What can Shabbat teach us? To be prepared for what can happen. Preparation. The days of the nation don't teach you preparation. It teaches you to swindle, con, lie, and steal. Things that go against our people's ways. Even our great-grandparents that used to observe those days. Why did I show the cat? And comfortable in doing that. The cat, now deceased, used to keep Yom Kippur with us. When we fasted, so did our cat. And we got that custom from when the Assyrians was fasting in the time of, say, Jonah. They even made the animals fast. So when we didn't eat, so did our pet not eat. When we didn't work, so did our pet was not made to work. So these are things we want to point out for reference purposes. Let's continue with the slide. Thank you for that, brothers and sisters. All right. We again know that's for December 6th. It's a little late, but it is what this is. Get the book from Avaris to Alabama on sale until tomorrow. Tomorrow being today. But I'm going to extend it for those that listening until the end of the week for $10. And then once so-called Sunday come, Yom Rishon, then I'll change it back from 10 to 12 on Amazon. Shalom. This presentation, Hanukkah, is brought to you by Danitepublications. We hope and pray that you all are well and will be better. We ask you all to have your Bibles and Apocryphas with you. We will be reading about the timing of Alexander III, who died in the 4th century BCE, until the timing of Georgius and the Battle of Bet Zur in the 2nd century BCE. We do not profess to know everything, and we are open to constructive criticism. We ask you all to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for that, brothers and sisters. Let's continue in this. Hanukkah commemorates the time of Judas the Maccabee over the Seleucid, some say Seleucid, forces in 164 BCE, and his cleansing of and dedication of the defiled temple and altar. Purification from the general contamination of Hellenism too was evolved. So what can we gather in that particular case? There's no way, shape, form, and fashion that the culture of the Israelites can be equated to the culture of the Europeans. The book you see shown is available for $10 until December 7th, but again, I'm going to extend it until so-called Sunday that's coming. Stay tuned on the live here to see the next sale offered. All right? If I can be heard well and people are in good spirits, please type in the number 4. If I can be heard well and people are in good spirits, please type in the number 4. Thank you for that, my brothers and sisters. Shalom on the Facebook Live, my brother Haziah. Shalom on the Facebook Live, my brother Adonia. Let us continue in this particular manner. All right? Goes on to say here, notes on the subject. Alexander, born in 356 BCE, died in 323 BCE. His wars of importance concerning this presentation is the Battle of Granicus in Turkey in 334 BCE, the Battle of Isus or Isus as some say, in 333 BCE in Turkey, the Battle of Tyre in 332 BCE, the Battle of Gargamella or Arbela in 331 BCE in Iraq. Now, the Battle of Gargamella, brother and sister, did you know when you look at this with the pen, and we're going to sit there and do it like this, right? Did you know, brothers and sisters, that war is spoken of in the Tanakh as prophesied? Stay tuned to the channel. More than Yeshiah history lessons. We're going to go over that. Alexander winning all those. And it happened that after Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. And he made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Did you know that Alexander died of a fever that they couldn't break? Some people say he was poisoned. He didn't live to be, brothers and sisters, past 35 years of age. You understand? He had one son from a woman that was of Persia, correct me if I'm wrong, that's where Roxana was from. But she was put to death after Alexander, and so was Alexander's child, by the guy you see mentioned on the left-hand side there, Cassander, the successors of Alexander, having Macedonia and Greece, Ptolemy, having Egypt, Palestine, Arabia, Patera. From 320 to 198 BCE, they of the Ptolemies or the Ptolemy ruled over where Israel was. Antigonus, Syria, Lebanon, and Central Asia. Lysimachus, Thrace, and Bithynia. All right, so let's look. Greece in the Bible. Now, this is on the channel, More Than Yeshiah History Lessons, a video there that was done. And one of the things in the Apocrypha that it says, brothers and sisters, is what? It says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Greece, in their culture, had a god that they called Zeus. And he had a lover that was a male. So if your pantheon of idols and idolatry has acts of sexuality that is not heterosexual, we can see why the Apocrypha might just go on and say, and evils were multiplied in the earth. You understand? So these are things we want to point out, but not get too far aside. Let's continue, brothers and sisters. Thank you for the time. All right. And it goes to say here, Josephus, book 12, chapter 1. Now, when Alexander, king of Macedon, had put an end to the dominion of the Persians and had settled the affairs in Judea after the aforementioned matter, he ended his life. Now, we're not going to read all of this with the timing allotted. We just want to go over, and you can take a screenshot of this, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes. What this essentially is saying is that the people that came up after Alexander, Antigonus, Seleucus, Cassander, Ptolemy, Lysimachus, and so forth. All right? We want to point out where the Ptolemies and the Seleucids were the most important to Israel, as opposed to the others. Let's continue, brothers and sisters, with the timing allotted. Again, when this is uploaded, you can pause it, take a screenshot, and check the references. The matter of the Ptolemies in Israel. Ptolemy II, under that time, Israelite priests paid a tax to the Greeks. He commissioned what became known as the Septuagint to be written. He fought with Antiochus I and Antiochus II. Antiochus II married to make peace Berenice, the daughter of Ptolemy II. Berenice and her son was killed by Laodice. This led into the Laodicean Wars. Now, the Laodicean Wars was essentially the wars of the successors of Alexander. Ptolemy III and Seleucus II fought. Antiochus III was the brother and successor to Seleucus III. Ptolemy IV, dying in 203 BCE, was a joyful matter to the Israelites. He defiled the temple. Ptolemy IV, dying in 180 BCE. Sorry, got to change that. Only human. All right. Want to change that mistake right there. Ptolemy V. Just want to point that out in that case. All righty. So, Ptolemy V, dying in 180 BCE, was the last of the Ptolemy rulers to rule over Israel. All right. Just want to point that out. Let's continue in this particular case. All right. Thank you for the timing. The matter of the Seleucids in Israel. In 198 BCE, the Ptolemies lost to the Seleucids in a Pinion battle. The video from Jerusalem to the Hood Part 4 is in the description when you see this is uploaded. Information on how they of Carthage and Rome are involved in this history is in a book I wrote, Deuteronomy 28, 15, and 68, which starting tomorrow, which is now today, December 7th, is on sale for $25 online and $20 if you buy it directly from me. No shipping fee. So remember earlier when we said stay tuned to see when the next book is available for sale? That is the book that we're talking about. So instead of it being for $30, it's going to be priced down now, starting today, online for $25. And if you look at the number, you can contact me if you want it directly for $20 itself. All right. So that's a book sale promotion in that particular case. Any questions or comments concerning what we're talking about, please feel free to type it into the chat. Thank you for that, family. Let's continue. All right. First Maccabees 1, verse 10. And there came out one of them, a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king. Antiochus the fourth is Antiochus Epiphanes, the son of Antiochus the king, which is Antiochus the third, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned 130 and seventh year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. The certain of the people were forward herein, that they went to the king and gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the custom of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and made themselves and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Brothers and sisters, what's sold to do mischief? Join themselves to the heathen and sold to do mischief. You saw Boys in the Hood, for instance, right? That's why I took this job. I can't stand y'all N-words, keeping the language clean. That's the person that joined on to the enemy to do mischief among their own people. When it says they built places of exercises, they're called gymnasiums of today. Did you know that in the gymnasiums of the Greeks, it was by gender, male only? Do you see Greek artwork, which we're not going to show on here due to the nudity of it? So when it says they were shown to do mischief, what are you talking about dealing with and doing? When you can sit there and want to tell a boy he could be a girl, and a girl she could be a boy. So the uniqueness of being a boy is not respected. The uniqueness of being a girl is not respected, brothers and sisters. You understand? This is something we don't want to sit there and pass on to our children, brothers and sisters. All right. Thank you all who typed in the number 4. Thank you for that, family. It goes on to say this here, right? And made themselves uncircumcised. I was taught that that was physical and or spiritual. Their heart in that case. And those who were uncircumcised, pardon me, those who were circumcised would physically take skin from that area down there and pull it back over as if to sit there and make themselves uncircumcised. We're going to see how important circumcision was to make sure that the children of Israel was to break that covenant between them and the Most High God. You understand? Let's continue, family. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Israel, that he might have the dominion of both realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. Now, this thing between the Seleucid and Ptolemy war, brothers and sisters, is the situation we saw about earlier with the Laodicean wars that winded up happening in what we call the Battle of Pinion. All right? In the era, we're talking between 201 BCE all the way, say, until 198 BCE, brothers and sisters, in this particular case. All right? So let's continue in this particular manner. Any questions or comments, please feel free to type it into the chat. Thank you with that, with the timing allotted. Thus, they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. Let's move on, family. All right. Again, for those who care to take screenshots, you're welcome to do so. Notes on Antiochus IV and 1 Maccabees 3:41. Antiochus IV killed Seleucus IV. He also removed Onias as high priest. When, however, he attempted to go to Egypt, he was forbade by the Roman leader Populus Linnaeus. Antiochus went to Joppa and Jerusalem, and his army was stationed in Phoenicia. Here's an external source coming out of the Apocrypha. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much, with servants, and came into the camp to buy of the children of Israel for slaves. A power also of Syria and the land of the Philistines joined themselves to them. So Philistia And we're also going to find out in the next presentation that the Sidonians became in part the Samaritans. So the Samaritans in part were Hamitic nations that the Assyrians replaced in the land of Israel instead of the true Israelites. All right, for those who know that particular history. Let's go on, if we will, with the time allotted. Thank you for that, my family. Notes on Matthias and Judas Maccabeus. He was the patriarch of the Maccabees. He came from the house of, or the family of, Yoarib, mentioned in 1 Chronicles 24. He died in 168 BCE after leading a war against Antiochus Epiphanes. Judas, 165 to 160 BCE, son of Matthias and leader of the Israelites. He defeated the Syrian leader Apollonius in Sarai, which we're going to talk about. During the era of Judas, the Greeks were buying Israelites as slaves. However, Judas stood against that. Antiochus sent one named Lysias against the Israelites, and during the battle of Bet Zur, the Israelites were the victors. Sadly, as time went on, Judas made a treaty with Rome, and Rome defeated the Israelites against the Greek leader Demetrius. Judas lost the battle of Elisa and was assassinated, buried later in Modin. Modin is a city not far from Jerusalem. So I just want to give a cap and a little bit of history on what we're going to be talking about. There will be a part 2 concerning this subject because of the length of this kind of matter. Let's continue in what we're talking about for reference purposes. All right. The style of Antiochus IV. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed to idols and profaned the Shabbat. So let's see, profaning the Shabbat is part of what they wanted Israel to do. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the what? Strange laws of the land. And let's see some of those strange laws that the Greeks came with. Forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice, and drink offerings in the temple. Let's stop right there. Not too long ago, me and my lady was talking about drinking. Mishteh is strong drink. Yayin is wine. Jeremiah chapter 40, Jeremiah 41 talks about the wine and the fruit that the people were using, brothers and sisters. So to have an alcoholic beverage, for the lack of a better term, is not a bad thing. It's just a bad thing to where you drink anything to the point where you yourself is drunk. Proverbs chapter 20 talks on that. Let's continue with this, brothers and sisters. All right. And that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days. Brothers and sisters. So that means the Maccabees was keeping Yom Kippur and all those other days for the leader of the Greeks, Antiochus IV, to say, don't keep the Sabbath and the festival days. That means they had to be observing those days for it to be noted for them to be told not to keep it. So we did have our culture and our days. Let's continue, family. It goes on to say this. All right. It goes on to say, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the Torah and change all the ordinances. And whosoever should not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. And in so same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. They wanted to make sure that the children of Israel was going to be broken away from their culture. That was the goal of the Greeks. So the Torah could not be part of the Greek culture. That's why we noted that as well. All right. So deal with swine, deal with idols, be uncircumcised, and don't keep Shabbat. Those are some of the recipes to sit there and cause the people to go against the Most High. Let's continue, brothers and sisters, with the timing allotted. that many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places. When you find people saying they just need time to themselves, when you find people saying, you know what, I'm just going to sit there because y'all wilding out over there, I'm going to do me over here. That's what Israel was doing. Every Israelite was not following the Greek way of life. Sometimes you got to let go what's not healthy. And that's what the Israelites were doing in this particular matter. It goes on to say this. Now, in the 15th day of the month of Kislev, in the 140th and 5th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar and built idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent the pieces of the book of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. So they burnt the laws, the books that contain the laws, and then gave you another culture. And whosoever was found with any of the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put him to death. That they, goes on to say, thus they did by their authority unto the Israelites every month, as to many as were found in the cities. Now in the 5th and 20th day of the month, did they sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of Elohim, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And they hanged their infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. Why would we think that they were so vehement about the circumcision matter? It's because it was part of the culture of Israel and a covenant between Israel and the Most High God. So ultimately, they wanted to separate you from your culture, take the laws and burn them. Did you know that when the European Jews encountered the so-called Falashis who call themselves Beta Yisrael, they took all of the copies of the Orit. The Orit, correct me if I'm wrong, is either Amharic or Ge'ez for the word Torah. What we call Torah, the Beta Israel in Gondar, in Lalibela in Ethiopia, they refer to as the Orit. What we call Pesach, they say Fasika. What we call Matzah, they call Kita. All right? So just knowing that in linguistics, did you know that they were held up and treated as hostages until they had to give up their own laws that they had in their scrolls that they carried down from generations? So these are things, brothers and sisters, we want to point out for reference purposes. Get the people to break the commandments. Let's go on if we will. Now let's look. Maccabees chapter 2. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, woe is me. Wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people and the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. These enemies were the Greeks. And it says a man without glory. Now, this is no disrespect. I happen to just get this picture, but just wanted to show what that is, in part for edification purposes. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? What nation didn't get a part of us is what's being asked. When it says her temples become as a man without glory, her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Could the vessels be people, like we're talking about us being tools to be used? Could the vessels also be objects that anyone can carry in their hand as well? Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. So we just want to show, not to be sad, what in part are we talking about? This is a list of some of the brothers that are either incarcerated or have been slain by the sword of the enemy, as you can see right there. See, on to depressed or sad or anything like that, but we definitely don't want to come with the, well, I don't want to offend either. While not using profanity and things of that kind of nature, we want to sit there and bring this out to the people so we can sit there and show why we say what we say and what we're talking about for edification purposes. The people that you see there, practically babies on the right-hand side, are that, or is that what Maccabees talks about when it says her vessels are carried into captivity and her young men with the sword of the enemy? Most of the people you see on the left-hand side are not even 30 years old. Some of them are teens and in their early 20s that was killed by the police. The people that were sold to do mischief by the order of the king, and then they hold themselves, like Zechariah says, not guilty. Let's continue, brothers and sisters, in this manner and close out. First Maccabees chapter 2. All her ornaments are taken away of a free woman. She has become a bond slave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end, wherefore, shall we live any longer? Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore. When you have a nationalistic spirit, that's what you're going to happen to have. All her ornaments are taken away. Now, yeah, I use the pictures from that movie Boys in the Hood, because the way the Israelite women was described in Isaiah chapter 3 in her ornaments, we see later on what the daughters of Zion have become, as shown in that old movie. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? In the bottom picture, shown from the movie Boys in the Hood, which is an old movie by now, the guy, Trey, was willing to go out and possibly have his own life taken, knowing those who know that movie. What is the big difference between what the Maccabees had went through and what wound up happening to the children of Israel? This is what we want to talk about and show for, quote, reference purposes, brothers and sisters. Again, this is not to sadden or depress or anything of that sort. Let us continue in this particular case. All right, let's look. Then Matthias answered and spoke with a loud voice. Though all the nations that were under the king's dominion obey him, and fall everyone from the religion, which we know should be culture, of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid, Elohim forbid, that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, which should be culture, either on the right hand or on the left. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews of Judah in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. And it goes on to say, which thing when Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar, also the king's commissioner, and compelled men to sacrifice. He killed him at that time, and the altar he pulled down. So Matthias put to death the Israelite that was going to do the Greek king's order and the person that was giving the order, and pulled the altar down. Brothers and sisters, the reason why he would do that is because you had to get rid of they who were going to leave, as is shown on the right-hand side, your roots and culture. Elohim forbid that we should leave from the way of our ancestors. And the Greeks coming with Hellenism, trying to make everything like Greece, were trying to diminish the culture of other peoples. And Israel was one of the peoples. So the Maccabees stand out because they were resilient against that kind of matter. One of the things me and my lady recently talked about is the people on earth who show resilience against the ways of other nations. One of them being the so-called Negro. We still want to maintain our own way and our own culture. This is why you got to sit there and put folly in our community. You got to put, quote, your religion in our community. You got to put that, quote, junk, quote unquote, food in our community. Did you know you could buy in the hood certain things you just can't buy in other neighborhoods? Remember that soda pop thing that they said was made past by the KKK? You wouldn't go and just use it, Queens, for example, in Forest Hills and see it, what you see in South Jamaica, Queens. What you see in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, before the gentrification, you would not see brothers and sisters in Sheepshead Bay. Just using that as an example. All right, so these are things we care to point out for reference purposes. Let's continue with the timing allotted. Thank you for that. Goes on to say, and Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, who is zealous for the Torah? Who is zealous for the Torah and maintaineth the covenant? Let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Sometimes you have to repatriate. Sometimes you got to be like, you know what? It's time for me to go, because that is not what it is. When you talk about living off the grid, that's what the Maccabees was doing in that particular case. That many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there, both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because affliction increased sore upon them. Sometimes it's time to make that move. Why do you think many people who want to leave New York go south? Why do you think many people in the South decided back in the day to come up north? That's a custom. When you just can't beat them, you don't join them. You go sit there and establish your own thing. What you're seeing on the right-hand side is a place in Jamaica where the Maroons were at in the mountains. What is the difference between the Maccabees saying here that they went into the mountains and the people that were in Jamaica in the 17th century that went to the mountains and say St. Mary, St. Catherine, Trelawney, and so on? Correct me if I'm wrong, family. Can we see how the culture can be shown to be a prevalent in a reality? As the Maccabees fought for their people, so did the Maroons in Jamaica. So did the Maroons in Trinidad. So did the Maroons in Mississippi. So did the Maroons in Brazil. So did the Maroons in Alabama, because there were Maroon communities in what you call the United States as well. So I just want to show that for reference purposes. All right, let's continue. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, then it goes on to say, they will now quickly root us up out of the earth. What happened? They attacked the Israelites on the Shabbat. So some of the Israelites said, let's not fight. And they died, say about 1,000 of them. The Maccabees, using wisdom later on, no disrespect to those who were saying they didn't want to fight on Shabbat, we got to fight to maintain our lives and our laws. Otherwise, we'll be obliterated from the earth. Now, sidebar, many of the Israelites was outside of the land at this time. Majority of the people that you see with the Maccabees will be led by the Levites, but the soldiers were not only Levites, but also of Judah and Benjamin. Some would say the remains of what was the southern kingdom of ancient times. Psalms 115 says this: the dead praise not Yah, neither any that go down into silence. So let us bless Yah, praise Yah while we have life. Sing praises to his name while we have any being. First Maccabees chapter 2 verse 45. Then Matthias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of the kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. Again, you can take screenshot, and what we see here in Josephus, book 12, chapter 5, is correlating to what we see in First Maccabees, chapter 2. All right? Just want to point that out for reference purposes. All right? If I can be heard well, and people are in good spirits, because my part of the speaking actually fell, so I can't hear it. But if you hear me well, but I wasn't setting up to be heard anyway on my end. If you can hear me well, if you're in good spirits, family, please type in the number 4. Thank you for that. It helps me out in this particular case as well. All right. Thank you all for joining on. You can be anywhere, but you decided to come here in this particular case. All right. Thank you for that, family. First Maccabees chapter 2 and Ezekiel chapter 25. Wherefore ye, my sons, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the Torah, in behalf of the law. For by it shall you obtain glory. You obtain glory by keeping the laws of the Most High. David said it to Solomon. Matityahu is saying it to his sons. And behold, I know that your brother Shimon, Simon, is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always, and he shall be a father unto you. Did you know that Simon Maccabeus is mentioned by the Roman historian Tacitus, external source? And as for Judas Maccabeus, he had been mighty and strong even from his youth up. Let him be your captain and fight the battle of the people. Be a nationalist. Take also unto you all those that observe the Torah and avenge ye the wrong of your people. Ezekiel chapter 25, we're just going to read verse 14. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord God. Thank you for that, my lady Sarai, typing in the number 4. What do we want to point out? Everyone may not be a physical soldier. Everyone may not be an advisor. What you wise in. And when you see someone is wise in something, Matityahu of the Maccabees line, or the progenitor of such, I must say, he was definitely saying, brothers and sisters, what? Let those who are able to do what they do it. That's a good parent. Your children are going to have their own particular spirit and their own motivation in something. Try not to muffle that. Try not to make it seem as if it's insignificant. All right, let's continue and close out, family, in this particular case. And giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth. I can be reached at 908-587-4841. Yeshiah Yisrael's and Vincent Hutchinson's books, A Guide for Those Interested. Danitepublications, as you see it going there, brothers and sisters, is what? The website to get the books for those interested. You have Hebrew is Easy, volume 1 through 6. And there is, brothers and sisters, the books that me and my lady wrote. That's to say Hebrew for Couples, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. And you can sit there and get these books on Amazon, brothers and sisters. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth. We hope and pray, brothers and sisters, that everybody is well and will be better. We hope you all enjoyed it. I am open to constructive criticism, brothers and sisters. Let me know in the comments. And I ask you, when this is uploaded, to leave a comment in there, so when I see it, I can click a heart to it, and I can subscribe to your channel as I ask people to subscribe to my channel. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to say, Lila Tov, have a good night. Shalom, Most High bless. We hope and pray again that everybody is well and will be better. Most High bless. Shalom. Thank you for participating, giving a shout out on a human level to my lady Sarai, to the elder, I believe Elgin Barrow, Rise in Greatness, everybody else, Adonia, on the Facebook Live. And if I missed anyone, please forgive me. And may we all be blessed by the Most High. The dead praise not Yah, neither any that go down in the silence. But we will bless Yah from this time forth and forevermore. Hallelujah. Shalom.